You'd think we'd be done with tanks by now. They keep coming in. As you saw last week, oh, never mind. This is Chuck with Fishy Business. I forget, you come here every week, and I think that you're always here every time I start talking, so forgive me if I started out of line. What I'm actually trying to say is, it's tax season, it's March now, it's fishy business, this is tank season for us. As you see right here, 180 gallon, 180 gallon, 125 gallon, tanks are coming in the door constantly right now because this is the cheapest time of the year to buy tanks. It's cold out here, so why don't you go inside with me and let's see what's going on in here. Oh, and as you can see, the first thing we hit is a wall of BioCubes. I mention these puppies every single week, and there's a reason that I do that. And you'll probably hear it next week and the week after that. This is the best introductory to saltwater tanks you're ever gonna have. Everything is included. There's not a lot of stuff hanging off the back. This is a great, fantastic way to start a saltwater aquarium for the first time. $300 and $400 kits. We even have a $750 kit that gets you more than everything that you need to set up a BioCube. But if you have $400 and you've been thinking about saltwater, you got a little extra cash this time, this is a perfect entranceway into saltwater. It is the #1 selling item here at Fishy Business, and it is for a reason, because we can get you in it, make you keep it in a way that you can be a successful saltwater aquarist. Then you can decide if you want that 180 gallon reef tank or not. So come with me, let's go further in. Say hey to the koi, everybody does. New pieces of driftwood out. This is a fantastic tabletop piece. This would look great in a 120. I doubt it'll fit in anything less than that, maybe a 90, but this would make a great centerpiece. Fish congregating around it, live plants around it, would look fantastic. As we move into the discombobulation that is a Wednesday arrival, you see stuff everywhere. Our favorite general manager, Scotty Pockets, is busy putting stuff out constantly. That's all he does Wednesday. You never see him pretty much do anything else. Check this out. This is a little beta tank K2 put together. Absolutely fantastic for a single fish. Not very expensive, tabletop design, live plants, great construction. This is a cool little tank. If you'll come with me, new stands and canopies arriving right now for tanks to go on. Let's see, what else? We just got the tank in for this 72 bow. However, it has not quite made it on the stand and canopy yet, but it will be by the next time you see it. Now, the thing that I am sorry to say is this pretty little empty tank that we had last week that I promised you were gonna see something magnificent and amazing in is gonna have to wait one more week. The reason why is the water quality isn't as far along as we hoped. And I'm gonna take a second right now to explain that is the most important part of fish keeping, is water quality. As much as I wanted to rush this along, as much as I wanted you to see something really cool and not have a cliffhanger that lasted 2 episodes, unfortunately, that is the case because the welfare of the animals going in here are the most important thing. And Fishy Business isn't gonna go forward until it's time. That's the one thing we try to tell each of you every time you come in here. We don't want you getting further ahead than your tank is ready. And water quality is where it all starts and ends. So hopefully next week I'll have something to show you in here that's really cool. Now, if you'll come with me. Guy just set up this and I haven't had a chance to look at it really well, but it stops me every time I walk by. In freshwater, shrimp tanks are the rage right now. Little desktop tanks with powerful lights, live plants. This thing is so unique, so compact, so small you can kind of see from my hands and body about how big this is. This has a Kessel light on it, very powerful, fantastic for growing live plants. Multiple ways to view. Shrimp are really cool because they look one way from the side and they look another way completely from the top, especially their markings and their color. So when you're looking in the tank, you can see them, if you can see them from the top, you'll see a whole different color scheme than you will from the side. And the small shrimp that we stock with freshwater, this is a great little tank for them. Now on to what came in this week. So lots of cool things came in this week. We got in the electric blue Jack Dempsey's, and Kara has done an absolutely phenomenal job of decorating this tank right here. You can see the small electric blue jacks. They're actually a little bigger than they normally come in. For $20, this is a fantastic freshwater fish. One of the things I'd like to iterate is that in this particular situation, these fish are not as aggressive as their counterparts. Normal Jack Dempsey's, of course, I would never tell you to put in any kind of a community tank. And while you still have to be careful of the size of community fish you put with them, the electric blue Jack is very compatible with a lot of fish that typically wouldn't be. So, right around here, we have the electric blue German Rams. Phenomenal little fish right here. These are a lot of color, a lot of beauty, and go great in a small planted tank. And before we get too much further, I want to draw you back here for just a second. The main reason I want to do that, we talk a lot about these nano tanks or desktop tanks, small little environments, but Scott's got a beautiful display right now of putting a lot of different size nano tanks together. These are all different shapes, all different sizes, some even for saltwater. Folks, these are not expensive tanks. They're very cheap, actually, most of which are under, I'd say, $200, if even $150. This is a great way to get a live planted tank, a very small reef tank where you don't need to necessarily have a lot of fish or don't even want a lot of fish. A species tank, these are great for. And all of these right here will fit just about anywhere. And they add a ton of beauty, just like even a live plant would. So, and you can go right down to a bowl, but the nano tanks, absolutely fantastic. Everything that I've been showing you is adaptable to that. You can't mention shrimp without showing you shrimp. And somewhere in here, we've got a bunch of these baby shrimp. They come in all different colors, very beautiful, so natural in a live planted tank, so peaceful to watch, especially the way they act in the community. This is a way to have a type of crustacean, something that you would only normally see in saltwater, that is perfectly adaptable because it is freshwater. I don't harp on it enough, and we will, as we go through these videos, I will be making more, I guess, presentations of fantastic planted freshwater aquariums. But one thing that I want to reiterate right here, just because we're kind of at it right now, is the fact that there are planted aquariums, freshwater aquariums, that are as beautiful as any reef aquarium or saltwater aquarium. It's just taking the time to put your creativity and learn enough about keeping live plants to create that environment. And I've been all over the world and seen planted aquariums in Europe, how they originate, what we have here. Fishy Business has the ability, and the staff that we have, to get you going with something like this if saltwater is something that isn't necessarily what you're ready for. If you're comfortable with freshwater, let us take that freshwater tank with some guidance, your creativity, and create something that truly is a natural wonder inside your house or office. To change the subject a little bit, we got a ton of livebearers in, and I haven't shown these very much in the last few weeks, but the balloon mollies. What else do we have? Sailfin mollies, lyre tails, lots of pretty livebearers. We got some new rainbows in too. A lot of new rainbows. A lot of new rainbows. I didn't even notice this. So when I did my quick briefing to see what all had come in, I had no idea we had as many rainbows as we have. So it's definitely worth taking a look because these are fantastic fish. And again, like with the live planted aquarium that we were talking about, these go perfect in there. So take a look at these celestial rainbows, Madagascar rainbows, Bosemani rainbows, turquoise rainbows, red tail 8-line rainbows, which I don't even remember seeing before. Fantastic looking rainbows. So come with me over here. As I showed you last week, we have these large Congo tetras. They came in again looking just as pretty this week. Absolutely phenomenal, coloring up already, fins starting to develop already, and they're in with roseline sharks. So these roseline sharks, absolutely beautiful. They haven't even started to color up yet, but absolutely phenomenal. So I'm gonna switch gears a bit and go all the way back to the invertebrates and start with something else that I was just thinking of I should show you. Okay, so I know this is switching gears a little bit from freshwater, but I wanted to talk about this rock that we just got in called life rock. It is a substitute for live rock that's out of the ocean. Now, if you don't know what live rock is, and I'm sure a lot of you do, for those that don't, live rock is rock that is basically corals that over a long period of time have kind of fused together and created a place, a very porous place for bacteria to colonize and all kinds of invertebrate and copepodic life in the wild, in salt water, in the ocean. And we have been trying over the years to limit the amount of that gets taken out of the ocean, even though a lot of it is farm raised, meaning basically that it's culled in a specific place in the ocean, so you're not just tearing up reefs and things like that. It's a very long-winded way to say this is life rock. This is rock that has been designed by man's hand to both look like and form and function live rock. Once placed in a saltwater aquarium, it'll start to teem with bacteria. Inverts, animals, things like that will start to populate it, and it will become the same thing. With one major difference: we can control the shapes and the designs and things like that of life rock. The reason I'm bringing this up right now is because we have it on sale. What I want to show you is basically, this is dry stacked. A lot of people ask me when I do a lot of tank designs, oh, how is it glued or how is it put together? I did this literally in about 5 seconds right before you got here to see what I was doing. And I'm going to dismantle it to show you what you can do. These are all shapes that came in a box. They're very random. They weren't picked out for any reason, but they're all completely and purposefully put on here. So this is life rock. They have some of the greatest, easiest to design stackable pieces. If you were a fan of Legos as a kid, here's a fun project for you. This is what's typical to come in a box or two. And right here, what is normally $180 a box, right now through I think the next week or two at least, they're $129 a box. So if you're contemplating setting up a saltwater tank and you need a skeletal system to support the corals and or the fish to swim through and go around, life rock is a great way to go about doing that. And as you can see, the design capabilities are basically limitless. So that's just a little blurb about life rock and an introduction to live rock and those sorts of things. So having said that, we'll go right over here to the inverts and I'll show you a couple things that came in. This more so for the uniqueness. A harlequin shrimp came in this week. It's a pretty big one actually. Okay, what you're looking at right now is a harlequin shrimp that just came in. We don't typically stock these because their main diet is starfish. However, some people want them because they're gonna feed starfish and things like that to them. So somebody had requested one. I wanna show you just because of the unmatched shrimp beauty that is this little shrimp. If you come to the left a little bit, you'll see the sexy shrimp dancing on the bottom of the sand. There's one sexy shrimp, and in the back there looks like 3 sexy shrimp all dancing for one another. One thing I want to show you, because they sell out so fast every week, is the Mandarin Dragonette. And I think I have more than one this week, but this little guy's coming right here. This, I think, is probably the most colorful saltwater fish there is. It doesn't get very big. It's as peaceful as they come. Now that we have things like copepods and tigerpods that we can sell to help keep them alive, they are a mainstay in any reef tank, any invertebrate tank where you're willing to go to the trouble of feeding them once a month a special diet. They are the most beautiful saltwater fish, I think, or definitely at least one of the most creative designs. So, a lot of our wrasses have sold from the weeks past. I have an exquisite fairy wrasse right here that came in this week. Oh, this guy is great. Take a look at this real quick. Pearly jawfish. If you watch that rock right there, you'll see nature in one of its unique forms. He's made a little house in this rock. He will come out to greet you, to eat. Fantastic just to kind of have occupying a very small part of your tank, but in a way he would look exactly as if he was in the wild. The great thing about gobies and blennies is that you can have a mess of them in a tank if you have it properly rocked out. It's cool to have a tank that has big and colorful fish swimming around in it, but it's equally as cool to have a lot of activity. And these fish, while they don't get big and they're not typically too aggressive, you can have lots of different ones in different areas of the tank, which keeps things going all the time and giving you something to look at in every space of the tank. Just like if you were doing a garden design, you would have different flowers in different places for different effects. You can achieve that with corals and fish as well in salt water. And speaking of corals, we definitely have to go look at the corals that came in this week. Now I know I'm bouncing around a lot, and it's just because so many different things happened this week and I haven't done a big overview of them. So they're kind of coming as my mind is receiving them. So walk with me through here. There's a coral show in Charleston this week that we're attending, and this is our showpiece where we have tons of cuttings, some of the most beautiful corals that are out there right now. Everything in this tank has been laid out by Guy, and you really should get a look at the corals that we have in here. Moving more beyond that, a lot of new cuttings have come in here, and the flower anemones, check these out. Look at the vast array of color, literally like flowers in a garden are these right here. If you look from the top, absolutely gorgeous flower anemones. These are very easy to keep. They don't typically move around a lot like other anemones do. They do move, but they tend to find places they like in the tank and typically stay put. And if you move over here, you can see a lot of the new corals that came in this week. I'm not going to break them down one by one. That you can kind of come in and see yourself. So, behind us are the fish. And this Cortez angel that came in has started swimming around and just about eating out of our, now he's following my finger around the tank. What a gorgeous fish. Lionfish are back in. We sell out of these really fast too. If you look up here, we have the Antenata, and I have a Volatan. Pretty examples of both of those family of fish. The Niger trigger you can see. I think he's, and a little hawkfish that needs to get in the picture for some reason. Take a look at this little lion. It's pretty rare we get a Volatan lion so small that it can fit in a nano tank. And while I'm not suggesting you put one in a nano tank, this guy could go. Very small Volatan lionfish. It's cool just because he's so small and you're seeing him as a baby. He just came in this morning. In the tank with him, swimming a little erratically, is the Coral Beauty. My favorite angel for any kind of tank. For the money, you absolutely cannot beat the hardiness of this fish. 50 bucks. It will live in just about any environment where a fish can't hurt it that could swallow it or something like that. Any type of communal saltwater tank, any reef tank, this fish doesn't mess with corals. A beautiful purple, amber, yellow, orange. It has just a great color. These typically come from Fiji and Bali. I have a couple other ones. I have a baby emperor angel right now. A little blue, black, and white thumbprint. This is just a gorgeous fish. And what's hard to believe is the fish that's this color right here turns in, as it grows, into this fish right here. If you've been doing saltwater a long time, that's not a big surprise to you. But if you've just been doing fish in general, or you're tuning in just to kind of see what's going on this week, that's a fun little fact. This fish right here starts out as a baby that color, just to keep it safe in the reef. And then as it matures, you can faintly see the baby stripes right there, but it forms into a totally different fish. So if you want to buy a fish that turns into another fish, and both are equally as pretty, there's not much better value than the emperor angel. There are a lot of other saltwater fish that are still coming in this week. We have one more shipment due. So I'm probably going to stop there with the saltwater fish. I want to take you and show you something in freshwater. Kevin really worked hard this week to design each and every single one of these fish tanks. These are African cichlids. If you've done freshwater for any length of time, you know what an African cichlid is. If you haven't, I'll introduce you right now. It's a fish, obviously, by its name, that hails from Africa. It comes from one of three lakes there, Malawi, Tanganyika, or Lake Victorian. There are other fish in Africa as well, but these come from those three specific lakes. The African cichlids are great because you can decorate a tank like saltwater because they can handle such a high pH. They are extremely hardy. A lot of times when you're in a restaurant or you're somewhere, they actually can give the appearance of being saltwater fish. People will decorate the tank to look saltwater. While they don't have quite the color of saltwater fish, they have a lot of color for freshwater fish. The only drawback is that they're very aggressive. This is one of the good things too, because they come out. They always stay where you can see them. And you'll see as you move through here some of the tank designs that Kevin did this week. Hey, you back there? Is Kevin around anywhere? Okay, never mind. I was going to pull Kevin into the conversation if he was here, but he's way up front with a customer right now, so we'll probably see him next week. But anyway, these are African cichlids. These are very beautifully designed aquariums around them. It really, really pops. You can mix Africans with other Africans. One of the other nice things is you can put a lot of Africans in a tank. They actually do better when they're corralled like this. So these aren't very big tanks and they house a lot of fish. So if you want to have a saltwater looking tank without it being saltwater, African cichlids might be for you. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you. Remember last week when we talked about the shark eggs and how close they were to hatching? The yolk is completely gone, and any day now we're gonna have baby sharks. So optimistically, by next week, we'll see a baby shark swimming around the tank, and you'll actually be witness to a shark being born in captivity. Let's go over here to the goldfish. As I said last week, pond fish are coming in. They will be, or ponds anyway, are coming into season. We had a cold snap this week and it'll probably continue for a couple more weeks. But by the time April gets here, we're gonna be well into pond season. And the most beautiful thing you can do to your pond is put pretty fish in it. And right behind me, you will see a plethora of new koi that have come in. Some of the koi that have come in are koi we don't typically have, the black koi, which are said to be very lucky to have in your pond. Personally, I don't know why, because in a pond outside you can't see them, but I guess their mere presence must do something for Asiatic folklore because they're lucky to have in the tank. These are all koi, and nothing looks prettier, in my opinion, in a goldfish or carp than they do. Behind me are other pond fish, the shubunkins, the pool comets, the sarasa comets. Yellow pool comets look great in a pond too, and they're very, very inexpensive. So that's the pond fish that came in this week. The goldfish right here, I don't know how he does it, but every week they seem to get better and better and better and better. Kevin just, not only are the varieties and styles that we have incredibly different, but the color is as well. Some of the prettiest red and white reunkins, the pearl scales, which are beautiful, the orandas, which are the most popular, all kinds of different goldfish, absolutely phenomenal, have come in this week. So, though that has been a very scattered view of the store this week, just because I didn't do all my homework before this video started, I would like to invite all of you to Fishy Business this weekend. We have a lot of stuff in right now. We have a lot of stuff coming in. In the weeks to come, I'll do tutorials on tank design. That is one of the things that I really want to get going on these videos. But we need to get past the next couple of weeks first, and there's still so much coming in this time of year. I really want to introduce you guys to all of the different things. As I've said before, tanks are never at a better price than they are this time of year. So if you're in the market or even thinking about one, or you just want to come in and price it just to see if maybe you can afford something you didn't think you could, or want to do something small like one of the nano tanks just to have to put in the home or office or something like that, now would definitely be the time to do it. So I would strongly urge you to come by and see us. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in again. Special thanks to all the subscribers and all the positive things that you said. This is uncharted territory for Fishy Business, and we're still working out the kinks. But I wish you a wonderful weekend. Please come see us, call us. If there's anything we can do to help, let us know. Have a great week. This is Chuck Mayer.